We have a definition of success that is purely visual. We want the biggest house on the block. We want the fanciest car. We want the job title that takes 2 lines to print out on a business card. We assume that bigger means safer. If I have more money, I am safe. If I have more status, I am safe. But nature has a very different rule. In nature, when you get too big, you paint a target on your back. Sometimes the very things we build to protect ourselves are the exact things that end up trapping us. Welcome back to the Simple Tapes. This is your friend Vinny. It's Sunday. I'm looking out the window at the valley here in the Rust Belt. The sky is that heavy shade of slate gray we get this time of the year. Down the road, the old factories are silent. The iron is cold. The smokestacks are sleeping. It's a good reminder that nothing runs 24/7. Even the steel had to stop eventually. If you spent this week chasing more, hustling for that raise, stressing about that upgrade, trying to expand your empire, I want you to pause. We are going to look at the cost of that expansion today. We are going to ask a question that nobody on LinkedIn ever asks. Can I afford to be this successful? There's a terrifying concept in evolutionary biology called maladaptive significance. Let me repeat that. It's called maladaptive significance. It's what happens when a trait that is supposed to help you win actually starts to kill you. Usually, evolution is smart. You grow fur to stay warm. You grow claws to hunt. But sometimes the game gets glitchy. Sometimes a species starts competing for status instead of survival. They start growing things or evolving things just to impress each other. And that is usually the beginning of the end. The most famous example of this is the Irish elk. These things were majestic. They walked the earth through during the Ice Age. Imagine a deer, but the size of a moose. They were the kings of the Pleistocene. And the males had these incredible antlers. Evolution told them bigger is better. Size does matter, after all. No comment on that. If you had big antlers, the females loved you. If you had big antlers, the other males were scared of you. So, generation after generation, the antlers grew. They became massive. We're talking 12 feet across, weighing nearly 90 pounds. Imagine walking around with a motorcycle strapped to your forehead. Talk about a crick in the neck. For a long time, this worked. They lived on the open grass plains. They could hold their heads high and show off their crowns. They were, in Charlie Sheen's words, winning. But then the climate changed. The Ice Age ended. The open plains disappeared, and thick, dense forests started to grow. And suddenly, the Irish elk had a problem. The winners, the bulls with the giant 12-foot antlers, couldn't move. They literally couldn't fit between the trees. They couldn't run from wolves because their antlers would snag on the branches. They couldn't lower their heads to eat the grass because the weight was too much. The runts, the ones with the small, unimpressive antlers, were fine. They could weave through the forest. They could hide. They could eat. But the kings, they died out. The very thing that made them successful was the thing that killed them in the end. They didn't die because they were weak. They died because they were too rich for their environment. I look around our world and I see a lot of people wearing 12-foot antlers, so to speak. I see the dream house that requires a $5,000 mortgage payment every month. I see the executive career that requires 80 hours of work a week and destroys your marriage and social life. I see the luxury car that needs premium gas and expensive insurance and repairs almost every 3 months. These things look like success. They signal to the world, I am a winner. Look at my rack. No pun intended. But they are actually traps. They are heavy. They restrict your movement. If you have a massive mortgage, you can't quit the job you hate. You're stuck in the forest. If you have a high maintenance lifestyle, you can't take a month off to heal when you get sick. You have to keep feeding the beast. We spend our whole life trying to grow these antlers, thinking they will make us happy, but usually they make us slow. So here's my challenge to you this week. Look at your life and identify your antlers. What is the thing you are building that is actually weighing you down? Is it a car payment? Is it a social obligation? Is it a standard of living that you can't actually afford? Maybe it's time to shed the weight. Maybe it's time to be a runt. The runt might not look as impressive on Instagram, but the runt is free to run through the trees. And in a changing world, agility is worth a lot more than size. Real wealth isn't having the biggest antlers. Real wealth is fitting through the door. And hey, one small thing before you go. I wore an old pair of sneakers today, took them out of the closet, dusted them off, haven't worn them in a while. They're scuffed. The logo is fading, and they definitely aren't cool anymore. But man, they are comfortable. Them Hokas fit my feet perfectly. I walked for miles and didn't think about them once. Sometimes the best things in life are the ones you don't even notice you're wearing. By the way, I do not get any affiliation by Hoka. This is just a pure story. Till next week, this is your friend Vinny. Keep it ordinary, keep it simple.